All right, welcome everyone. We are now at day 16. We've made it through 2 weeks, and we're just going to keep on going. Just going to go ahead and hop right into some practice today, just to get that muscle memory, continuing to build it every day, just a little bit of time. Don't take days off in between. So real quick, I'm just going to run through some scales just to warm up the hands. Because again, I literally just picked this up off the wall and started playing. I haven't really warmed up my fingers. Haven't really stretched like you're supposed to, but I wanted to get the time in. So just gonna run through some scales real quick. The A minor, C major. All right, wake up, wake up. Okay. Bring that down just a hair so we can see more of the guitar, not so much head space. There we go. Much better. Won't bounce to A enough. F, D minor, F, D minor, F, D minor. Just getting that repetition. See, for example, to me that just sounded a little muffled, a little poorly, to be honest. And That's probably because, just for example, I'm thinking out loud here, right? I'm just a beginner. What do I know? Just trying to learn with everybody out there on the internet who wants to join my journey. So, but I think it's because I know how to play an A. For example, it's really easy. Play it this way also, where I put my pointer finger, my index finger on the A note. So I know how to play it. I think I just don't transition to it and away from it enough. So that's why it was a little sloppy coming from my G chord to my A. I need to practice that transition more, I think. One, two, three, four. 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 I need a what do they call it? A metronome. I need a metronome so that way it continues to go at the same tempo, and I can try to keep up with it. See, but when it's not electronic and it's just me saying it, I'll pause if it's taking me too long to get there. So that's cheating. I need like an actual metronome to practice with. I should do that sometimes. Just burning in that muscle memory. Repetition, repetition, repetition. What I could do though, instead of just doing random bounces, I like to do the, let me get my dick out of my mouth. I like to use the circle of fifths or a circle of fourths, and kind of use that as like kind of like a map on which notes to go to or which chords to go to next. So let me get that pulled up. So, all right. So when I make the C chord, I've been trying to learn like what notes make up the chord. So for example, when I'm playing the C chord here, if I move my fingers out of the way, I'm playing this C note here, this E note here on the 2nd fret, and this other C note here on the 3rd fret, 5th string. And when I strum them, there is a open note here, the 3rd string, is an open. And what string is that? That's a D. So, right? So we're playing nothing but C notes, E notes, and D notes. Or G notes. Sorry, that's a G chord. Yeah. I'm fretting the D. This is a G. So my apologies there, but we got C, E, and the open G. So seg, C, E, G. So when you play a C, you don't hit this top. That's why I have it kind of muted. Kind of pressing my ring finger up into it so it kind of mutes it just in case I accidentally hit it. It doesn't really, the sound doesn't really get out. So yeah, I've been trying to understand, okay, yeah, I know how to play a C chord and a G chord and an F chord, and I've been learning all the shapes and getting my muscle memory down over these last 16 days, right? But I haven't necessarily understood, for example, like I was just saying, when I play this C chord, what notes are actually being played. So I've taken the time and got online and did some other, guitar practice, but it's not with the actual practice. It's with theory. It's understanding, from a knowledge standpoint, music theory, standpoint. So trying to understand that. So with the C chord, we got C, E, and G notes that ring out. When we go to a D chord, okay, I know how to play a D chord. But again, I wasn't necessarily paying attention to which notes are ringing out. So now I'm trying to be more mindful of the notes that I'm playing. So, right, you can't just absorb everything instantly, right? So once you get a little bit of an understanding in one area, you can kind of focus in on another area. So now that my muscle memory is getting decent, still obviously needs a lot of fine tuning, but compared to 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was just picking this up, it's a lot of improvement. So now I can kind of focus on which notes are actually being played. So for this D chord, it's kind of hard to see on live. I don't have like a little fretboard that's easy visualization, but for example, we're playing a D chord, right? So we got this D fretted, this A fretted, and this F sharp or G flat fretted. But then we also pluck the fourth string here, which is a D string. So D, A, D, F sharp or G flat. So those are the notes in the D chord, right? So you got D, A, and F sharp, G flat. And I guess all, or at least of the major and minor chords. I don't know once you get into other, styles. I don't know that yet. I'm just getting, first things first, major and minors. But it's 3 notes. So everything that we play, this G, 3 notes are actually ringing out. I know there's 6 strings, but there's only 3 notes that will actually be ringing out. So you got this G here, you got this B, you also got this G down here, and then you've got some open chords that are ringing out. You got D, G, and B, D, G, B, D, G, B, D, G, B that are ringing out. So That's which. So yeah, for the G major chord, you have G, B, and D notes that ring out. That's why sometimes you'll see musicians that will put this ring finger down on the second string, third fret. But if you look at it, that's that purple D there. So whether you fret it or do not fret it, it's still really a G chord. And that was so confusing when I was first hanging out with a friend or watching YouTube videos, and they was like, yeah, it's still a G chord. I was like, how? You're doing something. How is it still the same when you're doing something different? And to me, I didn't understand that it's because the notes that ring out, that they fret. So anyways, try to get to more playing instead of talking. I just wanted to explain kind of what I'm doing and some things that I've learned in theory the last couple of days outside of just the live recording here. E chord. So for the E chord, you got this high or low open E chord that rings out. So you got an E note, a B note, because your middle finger is fretting this, 5th string, 2nd fret, another E note from your ring finger, 2nd fret, 4th string, and then your index finger goes down here on the 3rd string, 1st fret, which is a G sharp or an A flat. Then you have this other open B that rings out. Nothing's fretted there, it's just open. It's a B. It's a B. That's the B string. So that's the B that's ringing out. And then another E that's open also. So again, it's just 3 notes. I know it's 6 strings, and you're like, well, that's an E, and that's an E, but they sound totally different. Right. But they are still E notes. So I don't exactly understand. It's just in different keys or different octaves, but it still is the same note. So again, now when I look down, I'm not just trying to get the muscle memory. I'm trying to pay attention to where my fingers are going, of course, obviously, so that way it plays the right chord. But luckily, since I have these stickers, I really recommend them if you're a beginner. You can kind of see, okay, let's see, I'm putting my fingers on an A, a D, and a F sharp G flat. So just trying to imprint the knowledge into my head of which notes are actually being played when I play the chords. So when I do G with my hand, like physically in my head, I'm saying, okay, it's D, G, B, D, G, B, D, G, D, G, B. I'm like kind of saying that in my head. So I'm physically doing the shape of the G, but in my head, I'm like, okay, obviously there's the G. And then what other 2 notes are there? There's the D and the B. So I'm kind of saying that in my head, right? To do the recall. So when you recall it from your memory bank somewhere that's lost in your head, and you actually, figure it out without having to look at notes or, pull something up or ask somebody and they tell you directly, when you actually have to kind of, it, but you got to bring it back and recall it on your own, it really makes it stick. So. little bright. Doesn't sound the best, but I feel the transition and how quicker it is and how smoother it is. It's still, not perfect, but before it took me like a minute. Like, okay, I got to transition to a G. All right, this finger goes here, and this finger goes, I think it says it's here, and this one here. Okay, there we go, G chord. Right? It used to take me like that long. Now I can go D, G, C, G, almost even in that F, C, or G, F, C, G. Quicker. Might not be, perfect. Still got to fine tune my finger placements, and if my palm is accidentally muting the high E or something like that, there's the fine tuning things to always perfect. But at least I can kind of strum a little bit, play a little bit. Before it was not a chance. Just proof that consistency does pay off. Obviously, it's not rocket science, right? Sometimes we need to be told those things. That's, it's not rocket science, but just a wake-up call or just motivation, just something, So the F chord, we're playing face notes. What I like to. There's just mnemonics, things like that to help remember. It's face without the E, so it's FAC. So the F chords, the notes that you ring out are obviously the F, the A with your middle finger, and then the C. So FAC. FAC. So you want to play the F chord, fret FAC notes. Okay, C chord, fret CEG notes. You play a G chord, fret G, B, and D notes. You want to play an A chord, fret A, C sharp, and E notes. Ace, A, C, E. But the C is a C sharp. It's not regular C. So it's ace, but a little weird ace. Again, just things to help you remember. Ace is a word, ace of spades, ace of, clubs. Ace. It's already a word, so. For the C chord, again, it's C, E, and G. It's seg. It's not really a word, but it's kind of like keg or leg, right? When you got that vowel in the middle, kind of just make a synonym, something that's similar. Like, C. I know it's not a keg. It's because you got to have the C note in there, right? So there you go. You got the C right at the beginning. Whatever chord you're playing, you'll obviously be playing that, at least that note. If it's a D chord, you will be fretting a D note. If it's a G chord, you will be fretting a G. So what are the other two notes? So really, you only have to study and quiz yourself and remember two notes. If you're playing the A chord, yeah, you got the A note fretted. All right, so what are the other ones? Oh, it's ace. That's right, but it's a weird ace. So is the E weird or is the C weird? But it's easy. You'll figure it out. But think of little things like that to help. A minor. A minor, I can just look down. I got the C, A, and E. All right, so for A minor, it's A, C, E. No weird sharps, flats. So it's A minor is a straight ace. So A minor is a straight ace, but the A major is a weird ace. And so for the E chord, playing the B note, E note, and a G sharp or A flat note. So what does that spell? That spells a word also. B-E-G, beg. You could look at it as the E chord, so it's the E and two other things. It's B and G sharp. So it's E, B, G sharp. That doesn't spell anything. But just move things around. Unscramble the word, right? It still spells beg. You're still playing a B note, an E note, and a G sharp note. Oh, come on. Face. I want to play an F chord. So for G minor, G, D, and B is ringing out. B flat, sorry. G, D, and B flat. Okay, starting to see the correlation there. So they just swapped out the B in the major. So for the G chord, you got G, D, and B. For a G minor, you've got a G, D, and B flat. So let's see if there's a correlation there. A, you got A, E, C sharp, minor, up to C. Okay. I'm just studying, I'm just thinking. So for C major, you have C, E, G. C, E, G. And for C minor, you have C, E flat, G. C, E flat, G. So subbing out the E for E flat. For D, you got D, A. D, A, F sharp. You sub that out and you go to D minor to D, A, F. Very interesting. F major, F, A, C, F minor, F, A flat, C. Getting a little sloppy there, but for a second, I mean, obviously, no, not perfect, but a lot better compared to where I used to be. So at 16 days in, I really see the consistency with seriously pretty much like just an hour's worth of practice a day. Yeah, I might play the musician app on my phone that I played in video 2 or 3 off camera, because I realized, trying to play it on camera is just, too time consuming, getting the phone out and getting the app open and, finding a song. It's a lot of wasted time. And like I've mentioned numerous times, I only use the free version of the musician app anyways. So I get like 10 minutes, I think, 15 minutes, I think. So yeah, you think that's another 25%, right? If it's 15 minutes, that's another 25% of an hour. And I've mentioned that I also get online and do a little bit of music theory and knowledge and stuff like that as well, from time to time. Not every day, but just from time to time, because I gotta, learn and adapt. I can't just get on live every single day for 100 days straight and just do, okay, everyone, let's do the spider drill. Okay, now let's just bounce from chord to chord. I can't do that, right? I have to educate myself and to be able to play, different things when I come on live. Sure, I'm a beginner, so every single time I come on live, I'm not going to be, completely, brand new and know all these different skills and techniques and things. No, but I got to be able to evolve a little bit, and maybe I am still just kind of doing a scale or bouncing from chord to chord, but I'm doing it in a more technical way, a more sound way. Pun intended there, for things to actually sound better together rather than just bouncing. Maybe I'm bouncing, specifically because the wheel of fifths or the wheel of fourths or some exercise I learned or something like that. So now that we're a little over, halfway, let's go ahead and switch it up from the chords and let's kind of get into a little more scale practice. And something I learned recently on the scale practice was when I do all my scale drills and spider drills. Getting decent. Not perfect, but not terrible. But notice how my fingers are constantly all moving and up off of the strings. Not wrong, but another practice drill I had learned recently was to do the spider drill, but keep your fingers down until you need that finger again, which makes it tough because when my fingers are up off the strings, they're out of the way from being muffled while I try to play a different note and string. But when I have to keep them all down, it's an interesting drill. I have to play a lot slower and think a lot more, and I really get a fine tune, where my elbow needs to be, where my wrist needs to be, things like that. So that way the strings aren't being muffled. So just to give you an example of what that looks like, keeping fingers down until you need it again. See, normally I'd bring all of these up and then I'd start the line again. But when I go to string 5, keep all of these fingers down. And it's really hard down here on the lower end because the frets are a little further apart, right? So, man, to get the knuckles to really spread out, that's tough. I'm actually going to take a minute. I think right now would be a good time to just take a split second, stretch out my fingers. Luckily, I've always done this drill, even before I ever picked up music. I've always done this stretching exercise with my hands, so it's probably a good thing. I'm always I don't know what the word is, but I never really know what to do with my hands, right? So I'm always like putting them in my pocket or holding them or putting them behind my back. I'm just always so fidgety, right? And I'm always popping my knuckles. I pop my knuckles, I don't know, 20, 30 times a day. No exaggeration. It's just, I don't know if it's a nervous habit. I don't really want to call it that because I will literally do it here in my own home when no one is around, right? So like, who am I nervous around? So I don't know if it's like a nervous habit, but it's just something I've always done. I think when I was younger, I always heard the thing like, oh, you shouldn't pop your knuckles. You shouldn't pop this and pop that. It's not good for you. I don't know how much of that is actually true, though. I've done a little bits of research myself, and I'm no doctor or anything like that. But from what I understand, it's the popping is just like blood cells or something like that. But like bursting or popping or something like that, which sound, I don't know if I'm getting it 100% right. I haven't looked it up in a while. But anyways, what I had learned or read on it though was that really there is no like scientific proof or studies that have been shown that people that pop their knuckles develop arthritis or carpal tunnel or anything like that. I don't think there are really anything like that. So although there's an old wise tale, I'd say, that says that you shouldn't do it, I don't know how true that is. So I pop my knuckles all the time, and I stretch my fingers all the time. Like I said, even before I was ever a musician, my wrists, my fingers, I always do the stretches where it's all 4 fingers back at the same time, where it really stretches out on the forearm. Man, that when you pull all 4 back at the same time, that forearm really gets to pulling. And then I do individual or like 2 at a time. Then I do like 1 at a time. Then I do the far opposites. And I just kind of play around, just constantly bending my fingers. I don't go like crazy and put the thumb to the wrist, and I don't think I can really do that. As much as I've stretched my fingers, I've never really purposely like over stretched them to where I could like touch my hand back. That was never really a goal. So I never really, was that intense. I don't want to hurt myself. So, not like double jointed or anything like that per se, but I do those stretches and pop my knuckles a lot. So now that we've done a good warm up, I actually should have done that, over 50 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago, but just wanted to jump right in. So anyways, now let's get back to our scale walk. And just be patient with yourself. It's a new drill. It's tough not to pick up your fingers. So you're really, really building that strength and that muscle memory. All right. All right, now let's go the other way. Now you can slide down. Thank goodness, because as we get further this direction, our fingers will get closer and closer. Which, man, being this far and spread apart, it's pretty tough. I can feel it as I press down on this 5th string. It was touching my previous fingers, and then as I press down on it, I don't feel it there anymore. So it's those little feelings, that little fine tuning, those micro adjustments that you'll actually start to feel and understand. Oh, okay, I see why it's muffled, because I feel it now. Before I didn't even feel it. So much, inputs and are coming in and trying to understand so much all at once, but things start to fall into place. You understand more. You feel more, you hear more. Constantly calibrating yourself. Man. down to the 3rd fret. It's only taking us 4 minutes. Right? When I can do it fast, lifting my fingers off. Not perfect, I know. Already there. So when I can pick up my finger, I can go quite a bit faster. But now, again, keeping our fingers down, we were on the 3rd frets. Our index fingers made it down to the 3rd frets. So now we're walking back up. Walking up isn't terrible because obviously nothing's going to be muffled. There's nothing in the way. But when you're going down and you have your whole palm in the under part of your hand that could possibly muffle those higher strings, yeah, going down's the harder part. And just hitting the right string. Shift. See, me personally, okay, I'm on the 4th. I just like to know where I'm at. So while I'm talking, just in case I move my hand or forget. But see, me personally, I've tried to do the songs, and memorizing someone else's art and doing it exactly, it was just so frustrating rewinding videos, and just I felt like I was constantly just watching stuff rather than me developing my skills. And so for me personally, although it might be kind of boring, and I know people want to play familiar songs that they're used to and bring back that nostalgia and stuff like that and play around campfires, for me, I just want to get comfortable with the thing. So for me, I like learning new drills on YouTube, not necessarily songs, but just drills to get my dexterity built up, my strength built up, my wisdom and understanding. Do I bring my wrist in and high? Do I bring my thumb around the neck? Do I bring my thumb down and press on the back of the neck? I like to fine tune those, fundamentals and those mechanics. And then I hope, my hope is that once I'm have a good foundation, then the songs will come, a little easier. So I'm sure it will. Everyone's, guitar journey, everyone's journey, period, not just guitar journey, life journey is, 100% their own, 100% unique and different. So if you start on one path, doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to, complete the circle and bring it all together at some point. So there's no right or wrong way, right? You don't have to go to college. You don't have to go to the military. You don't have to work a corporate 9 to 5. You don't have to do one thing. What's right for one is not right for the other necessarily all the time. So yeah, I like to practice this basic fundamental stuff. Really fine tune. Oh, okay, I feel that string touching. Oh, okay. See, I felt that. You heard it, I felt it. Before, I'd hear it, but I'd be like, I don't know. There's so much going on. I don't know where it's muffling. I'd have to really pay attention and look and play it 5 times. But now it's now I heard it instantly, felt it instantly. Shift. Keep the fingers down until you need them again. And you'll notice I've always been going index to pinky, index to pinky, index to pinky. More hammer-on style. And then I need to practice, this will probably be days later, weeks later, but going pinky to index and practicing the pull-offs. Notice these are not really hammer-ons because I'm plucking in a hammer-on. You technically don't pluck it again, but just that it's similar. I'll explain here in a second. See, now if I go pinky to index, it's kind of like, it's not because I'm plucking every time, I get that, but it's kind of like practicing the pull-offs, because a pull-off, you're basically pulling off of one finger, and whatever's fretted behind it, it can be, the fret, the note directly behind it, or it can be, two notes behind it. So it's not exactly a hammer-on or exactly a pull-off, but it's like a step in the right direction. So I'm practicing again, index to pinky, but eventually a couple days later, a couple weeks down the line, once this is a little bit, more familiar, more comfortable, then I'll practice pinky to index as well. Keep your finger down so you need it. Don't walk yet. That's a challenge, keeping those fingers down. They all want to just come up right when I'm done using them, but they need to stay down until I'm ready to use them again. Man, you just a minute ago saw how quick I could go when I lift my finger up. And yeah, now that I'm trying to keep my finger down, it's taking like the whole last like 20% of the hour here. I have to go so slow and think about it. And like my thumb back here, where does it go? How do I flare my wrist in or out? It's that fine tuning though. It's important to figure out. How big are your hands? How small are your hands? A lot of people think that matters at first, and I too. I was in the same boat. Like, oh, my hands are tiny. I ain't making a G chord. I guess I'll just learn songs that don't have G chords in them. But no, I can easily play a C chord now. It's just the muscle memory, the strength, the flexibility in your fingers. You haven't worked it up yet. A lot of times it's not about your hand size. It's obviously that plays a factor, but it plays a factor both positively and negatively, both for everybody, right? Yeah, if you have big hands, you can do bigger stretches and wrap your thumb around and mute things. But also, if you have bigger hands, guess what? You're easily muting other notes. So, right? So everything's like catch-22. You just got to figure out what works for you. And you can't figure out what works for you by watching other people play. And that was my problem in the beginning. Constantly just watching other people play. And it's like, okay, well, that person might be 6'5". So how they're playing isn't going to work for me. Or maybe it will work for me. But if I'm just watching their videos over and over and I'm never picking it up and actually putting it into practice, then I'll never find out. Yeah. Keep that down. Keep those fingers down. I didn't even realize I was doing it until I heard that I was going fast. I was like, wait, why am I going fast? Oh, because I'm lifting my fingers up. Whew. Almost there. Ugh, this stuff is hard when it gets lower. Or higher, I guess, sorry. It's lower to the ground, right? But it's higher in pitch, so. Whew, all right. Finally walked the whole thing. Now you can walk back if you want. That took me long enough. So that's a new drill that I've recently learned. Like I said, I used to just pick up my fingers, but now I'm trying to keep my fingers down to be more controlled. So yeah, just real quick, let's finish the video off. I'll do a little extra time today and just do some quick pentatonic scale shapes like I practiced at the very, 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 very beginning of this video. But let's just pick the different shapes and practice them. So all right, so there's one shape. There's 4, position 5. And notice I'm picking my finger up. You can do not just a spider walk, but actual scales, practicing the way I was just a second ago where I was keeping every finger down. I'm not going to do that right now because obviously it takes me a long time and it's a new technique that I've learned. But I will do that tomorrow, and next time I will do these scales, but I will do it while keeping each finger down until I need it again. Like I'm trying to do now. Cool. All right. So that's it for the day. Today is day 16. So finally made it through day 16. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. If anything that I'm teaching or talking about is kind of helping you out, I'd appreciate the subscribe. And if you can give it a thumbs up, I'd appreciate that as well. Leave a comment so you can get the community talking. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you all so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm out for the day. I love you. Take care. I'll be with you again tomorrow and the next time. See ya.